My mother would have known that she'd been deceived. She was failed not just by a rogue reporter, but by leaders at the BBC who looked the other way rather than asking the tough questions.
The palace corridors were unusually quiet that morning. Phones had stopped ringing. The press office, normally buzzing before sunrise, was completely still. Then the silence broke. From behind closed doors, Prince William's voice echoed, with just 2 words. "Release it." Within minutes, the statement was live. Within an hour, the internet was ablaze. Within a day, the monarchy had split into 2 warring camps. But here's what nobody is talking about. Behind that statement was something far deeper, far more personal, far more explosive than anything the royal family has ever faced in the modern era. A private DNA report, a classified financial dossier, a frozen trust fund worth over £22 million, and 2 small children stepping off a plane onto British soil, changing everything. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the royal crisis that has left the entire world speechless. The DNA twist that shook the House of Windsor, the hidden wealth nobody saw coming, the moment 2 brothers reached a point of no return, and the one question that no palace protocol, no royal commission, and no official statement can ever truly answer. Stay with us, because this story goes far deeper than the headlines. To understand everything that followed, you first need to understand what Meghan Markle was already preparing for, quietly, privately, and with growing urgency. Sources close to the Duchess of Sussex say that for months, a deep sense of unease had been growing inside the Californian-based royal. Not about public opinion, not about media coverage, about her title. The Duchess of Sussex title, the defining symbol of her royal identity, the foundation of everything she and Harry had built since stepping back, was, she feared, under threat. And her fear was not without basis. In October 2025, King Charles III took a step that sent shockwaves through the entire institution. He formally and unequivocally stripped his own brother, Prince Andrew, of all remaining royal titles, styles, and honors. A sweeping, unprecedented action that dominated headlines worldwide. The move was reportedly encouraged by Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, signaling a firm, no-nonsense approach to the monarchy's future. For Meghan, the message could not have been clearer. If the king would do that to his own brother, what would King William one day do to her? Insiders say she immediately began consulting with a team of top legal experts, exploring constitutional law, historical precedents, every possible avenue to protect the title she had carried since her marriage into the royal family, as one close source told Women's Day. She's not taking any chances. Meghan is fully prepared to fight. And according to that same source, she may actually have a case, because Meghan's position is unique. Her background as an American-born former actress gives her a distinct legal perspective, a different set of potential protections, and an international profile that a typical royal figure simply does not possess. The stage was being set, the lawyers were being briefed, and inside Buckingham Palace, something was about to break. For years, Prince William had been the steady one, the mediator, the big brother, the man who kept the peace even when everything around him was fracturing. But something changed. Multiple palace sources point to a private classified dossier, compiled by royal security, that had been placed in William's hands in the days before the announcement. The report detailed repeated protocol breaches, confidential leaks to media contacts, and what investigators described as strategic manipulation of palace narratives. But there was something else in that report. Something more personal. Something that pushed William past every line he had held for years. A heated meeting took place between King Charles, Catherine, and William just days before the statement was released. Sources say the king urged restraint. William's response was direct. "We can't let sentiment destroy the throne." Those are powerful words, especially coming from the man who once held the family together after Diana's death. The man who stood beside Harry through heartbreak and public scandal. The man who shielded his brother from scrutiny again and again. So what changed? The answer, according to those closest to both men, was not hatred. It was not cruelty. It was exhaustion. As one aide described it, you can only defend your family so many times before you start defending the institution itself. William had crossed that line, and his execution of what followed was not emotional. It was strategic. The statement was released just before dawn, London time, when American audiences were asleep and British media were still preparing for the day. It gave the palace a crucial 6-hour advantage to control the narrative before Meghan's team could respond. One palace insider described William's mood the night before the release as eerily calm, not angry, not emotional, resolute. It was as if he had already mourned the relationship, the insider said, and moved on. But the classified dossier was only the beginning, because running alongside the personal and institutional crisis was a financial story so complex, so carefully constructed, that even the investigators tasked with unraveling it described it as something rarely seen outside of a political thriller. It began with an offshore account in Jersey, opened in March 2019, while Meghan was still finding her footing in royal life. The account was not registered in her name. Instead, a chain of mysterious entities stretched across continents. A company in the British Virgin Islands owned another in Delaware, which in turn was managed by a Swiss trust. Each layer was deliberate, each connection designed to create what financial experts call plausible deniability, a structure so complex that it could confuse even the most determined investigator. Palace investigators, armed with court orders and forensic accountants, began peeling back those layers. And slowly, a path emerged. One that led unmistakably to Meghan as the ultimate beneficiary. But here is where the story took an unexpected turn. During a routine examination of financial transaction data, investigators noticed something unusual. A payment of just $499, listed under an entity identified as RQL LLC, had been directed toward a private U.S. medical facility known for its discretion. The payment was small, almost insignificant on its own, but connected to it were mentions of a non-disclosure agreement, and that detail triggered something inside the Commission's review that could not be ignored. The scope of the investigation expanded. Travel timelines, security footage, earlier financial transactions that had already drawn attention. Individually, each piece could be explained away. Viewed together, they were forming a picture. Then came the detail that transformed this from an institutional dispute into something deeply, painfully human. Princess Diana's discretionary trust. Diana's estate had been structured to pass through her sons to future generations. That trust, valued at over £22 million, had become part of the wider Commission review, and Prince William had stepped in. In private discussions with those overseeing the fund, William placed any potential allocations connected to the Sussex children on hold. A pause, not a permanent decision, but a pause that sent a very clear message about how seriously the palace was treating everything that was unfolding. Harry's reaction, according to those close to him, went beyond frustration, beyond anger. It reached grief, because the Diana Trust was not just money. It was his mother's legacy, the one tangible bridge between Diana and the grandchildren she never got to meet. The one thread connecting two young children in California to the grandmother who had loved their father more than anything in the world. Seeing that legacy placed on hold, frozen inside an institutional dispute, felt, to Harry, like a betrayal that went deeper than any memo or legal filing could cover. Two brothers. Two entirely different ways of seeing the same situation. And a wall between them that neither could find a way through. A recent conversation between William and Harry was described by those aware of it as brief, tense, and almost unbearably careful. The call lasted less than 15 minutes. Both men spoke. Both men were controlled. Both were aware that anything said between them might eventually reach the outside world through the same channels that everything else already had. The warmth that had existed between them in childhood, documented in photographs, home videos, and the testimony of people who knew them before the world got involved, was still there somewhere, but buried under everything that had accumulated between them. In parallel, William's speech was being drafted. Those who saw early versions described the tone as something rarely seen in modern royal communications. Not emotional, not defensive, not aggressive, just clear. The title of the address was reported to be On the Matter of Lineage and Constitutional Continuity. and buried within the draft was a single line that said everything about where William now stood. I would rather carry the burden of public backlash than risk the erosion of royal truth. Whether anyone would receive those words as the duty-driven statement they were intended to be, or as something colder and more calculated, remained entirely to be seen. And then, everything shifted. A leaked travel record appeared online in the early hours of a cold London morning. A Gulfstream G650 tail number ending in 722 SEGWID, filed for arrival not at Heathrow, where the media crews had been camped through the night, but at RAF Northolt, a military airfield, used by senior government officials and senior royals for arrivals requiring security, precision, and a controlled environment. The manifest listed one adult male under the name Henry Mountbatten Windsor, traveling with 2 young dependents. Meghan's name did not appear. That absence generated its own wave of speculation the moment the document began circulating. 3 black Range Rovers were positioned near the runway. 2 senior royal officials were confirmed to be waiting. Sir Clive Alderton and Dr. Michael Dixon. Their presence made one thing immediately clear. This had been coordinated at the highest level. The cabin door opened. Harry stepped out slowly. His face carried the visible weight of everything the preceding months had placed on him. Tired, serious, carrying something that had no simple name. He did not wave. He did not gesture toward the cameras tracking the jet from a respectful but hungry distance. He took one step forward, and then he turned back toward the aircraft. And the moment that followed became the image that everyone who watched would carry for a very long time. 2 small figures appeared at the top of the steps, Archie and Lilibet. Not as the brief, carefully managed glimpses the world had been permitted over the years, but standing there in the open London air, visible, real, present. Holding their father's hands, coming down the steps carefully, one at a time. That image said more than any legal filing, any leaked email, any classified dossier, or any carefully drafted palace speech ever could. It was a human moment inside an institutional crisis. Whatever the commission decided, whatever William said, whatever legal arguments were advanced in the High Court, none of it could fully account for 2 small children stepping off a plane, onto British soil, to meet the grandfather who was also their king. That moment was the pivot point, the thing that shifted the entire situation onto completely different ground. The Royal Commission was said to be preparing its conclusions. The final report in the hands of just 3 individuals, Prince William, Princess Anne, and the Lord High Chancellor. And the decision they were about to make was being described by those inside the story as one of the most consequential moments the House of Windsor had faced in the modern era. 2 possible outcomes, 2 entirely different futures. If the Commission ruled in favor of full recognition for Archie and Lilibet, it would mark a significant shift in how the monarchy was willing to adapt its traditions to accommodate modern realities. It would restore a level of relationship between the Sussexes and the institution that had seemed impossible for years. It would free Diana's trust funds from the hold placed on them, allowing the financial legacy of a beloved princess to finally reach the grandchildren she never got to meet. If the Commission ruled the other way, the separation would deepen from something unofficial and uncomfortable into something formal and permanent. Harry's children would continue their lives in California without the royal standing there. Father was born into, the connection to Diana's legacy, financial and symbolic, would remain in limbo, and 2 brothers would be left further apart than at any point in their entire lives. Outside Buckingham Palace, the cameras were ready, the reporters were in position, the headlines were being held. And the question hanging over everything was, the one that no DNA report, no leaked email, no 72-page legal filing, and no royal commission could ultimately answer. In a family this famous, this fractured, and this watched, could the institution that was supposed to hold them together find a way to actually do that? Or had the distance between California and London, between duty and freedom, between the man William was becoming and the man Harry had chosen to be, simply grown too wide for any official process to bridge? This is not just a story about titles, or money, or protocol. This is a story about 2 brothers who love each other and cannot find their way back. about a woman fighting to hold on to her identity in an institution that was never fully designed to include her. About two children who deserve a grandfather and a heritage and a family, and who are being asked to wait while the adults around them figure out what they are worth. The palace has survived scandal before. It has survived abdication, divorce, death, revolution. But it has never faced quite this combination of personal grief, institutional pressure, and a watching world that has already chosen its sides. Whatever the commission decides, one thing is certain: the story of Harry, Meghan, William, and the House of Windsor is far from over, and the world, as it always has, is watching. What do you think the real future holds for Harry, Meghan, and their relationship with the royal family? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what is really happening behind the royal headlines, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching. And remember, the most powerful stories are always the ones happening behind closed doors.